In February 2020, ahead of the assembly elections, the streets of Delhi were burning. Violence erupted, leaving behind a trail of destruction and despair. The city, known for its vibrancy, became a battleground of hate and division. Neighborhoods that once lived together were now torn apart. The 2020 Delhi riots were a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the ever-present threat of communal violence. 53 lives were lost in the riots. 38 Muslims and 15 Hindus were killed. Over 700 people were injured, many of whom continue to grapple with the physical and emotional scars of the violence. The riots exposed the deep-seated communal tensions that continue to plague Indian society. The immediate trigger for the riots was the Citizenship Amendment Act, a controversial law passed by the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party government. The CIA, along with the proposed National Register of Citizens, was widely seen as discriminatory against Muslims. The Citizenship Amendment Act, or CAA, sparked widespread protests across India. It offered a path to citizenship for non-Muslim refugees from neighboring countries. Critics argued that the CAA violated India's secular constitution by making religion a basis for citizenship. They saw it as part of a larger agenda to marginalize Muslims. The BJP, with its roots in Hindu nationalism, has long been accused of promoting a majoritarian agenda. The party's stance on issues like cow slaughter and the construction of the Ram Temple in Ayodhya has further fueled these concerns. The CAA and the NRC became flashpoints in this ongoing debate about Indian identity and the nature of citizenship. The protests against the CAA were met with a heavy-handed response from the authorities. Peaceful demonstrations were often disrupted. Activists and students were targeted. The government's handling of the protests further inflamed tensions and created a climate of fear and distrust. Allegations soon surfaced that the BJP and its ideological parent organization, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh (RSS), played a role in orchestrating the Delhi riots. While concrete evidence has remained elusive, the accusations persist. Critics point to the timing of the riots, which coincided with the Delhi Assembly elections, as evidence of a possible political motive. BJP leader Kapil Mishra emerged as a central figure in the events leading up to the riots. Mishra delivered inflammatory speeches in the days leading up to the violence. He openly called for the removal of anti-CAA protesters. His words, laced with communal rhetoric, are believed to have incited the violence. The Delhi riots were not an isolated incident. They were symptomatic of a deeper malaise within Indian society. The rise of Hindu nationalism, coupled with the erosion of democratic institutions, has created a climate of impunity for those who seek to divide communities and incite hatred. The shadow of the Babri Masjid demolition loomed large over the Delhi riots. In 1992, a mob of Hindu nationalists demolished the historic mosque in Ayodhya. The incident triggered widespread communal violence across India, leaving deep scars on the nation's psyche. The demolition of the Babri Masjid was a watershed moment in India's political landscape. The BJP's rise to power in the aftermath of the Babri Masjid demolition can be attributed in part to its success in mobilizing Hindu nationalist sentiment. The party's promise to build a Ram temple at the disputed site in Ayodhya resonated with a large section of the Hindu population. The demolition of the Babri Masjid was a blatant attack on India's secular fabric. It emboldened those who sought to redefine India as a Hindu nation, rather than a pluralistic and inclusive society. The incident continues to cast a long shadow on India's present, serving as a reminder of the fragility of communal harmony. Part 5. The fabric of unity unraveling. Communalism poses an existential threat to India's unity and democracy. It seeks to divide citizens based on their religious identity, sowing seeds of discord and mistrust. When communities turn against each other, the very foundation of a nation crumbles. Dialogue is replaced with suspicion, and cooperation gives way to conflict. India's diversity is its strength. It is a land of multiple religions, languages, and cultures. This diversity has enriched India's social, cultural, and intellectual life for centuries. Communalism, with its narrow and divisive ideology, seeks to destroy this rich tapestry of diversity. It undermines the principles of equality and justice enshrined in the Indian constitution. It creates an atmosphere of fear and insecurity, particularly for minority communities. When individuals are targeted based on their religion, it strikes at the very heart of democratic principles. Part 6. Dr. Ambedkar's prophetic warning. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the chief architect of the Indian Constitution, recognized the dangers of communalism. In his seminal work, Pakistan or the Partition of India, Ambedkar warned about the potential of Hindu-Muslim communalism to tear apart the nation. He believed that communalism ran counter to the idea of a united and democratic India. Dr. Ambedkar argued that communalism was not merely about religious differences. He saw it as a political ideology that sought to divide and exploit communities for political gain. Babasaheb Dr. Ambedkar's warnings about the perils of communalism are as relevant today as they were in the years leading up to India's independence. His insights into the nature of communalism offer valuable lessons for contemporary India. His work reminds us that communalism is not an intractable problem. It is a product of political choices and social conditioning. Part 7. Distractions from Development. Author and social activist Nikhil Sablania has argued that communal conflicts are often used as a tool to distract from pressing economic and social issues. He believes that political parties exploit communal tensions to divert attention from their failures in governance. By keeping the populace embroiled in religious conflicts, they can evade accountability for their shortcomings. Sablania argues that communal conflicts have a particularly detrimental impact on young people. He contends that young minds are often misled and manipulated by communal propaganda. Their energy, which could be channeled towards constructive pursuits like education and employment, is wasted on divisive agendas. Sablania's insights highlight the insidious nature of communalism. It not only undermines social harmony, but also hinders progress and development. When a society is caught in the throes of religious strife, it loses sight of the collective good. Part 8. Towards a more informed future. It is imperative for young people to engage in critical thinking and develop a nuanced understanding of history and society. They need to be equipped with the tools to identify and reject divisive ideologies like communalism. Education plays a vital role in this process. Sablania advocates for the study of thinkers like Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and Karl Marx. He believes that their writings offer valuable insights into the nature of social inequality, oppression, and the need for social justice. By understanding the root causes of these issues, young people can become agents of change. Education should not be confined to textbooks and classrooms. It should encompass a broader understanding of society, including its history, culture, and political structures. Young people should be encouraged to ask questions, think critically, and challenge the status quo. Part 9. The Urgency of Education. The 2020 Delhi riots serve as a chilling reminder of the fragility of peace and the ever-present threat of communal violence. They underscore the urgent need to address the root causes of communalism and foster a culture of tolerance, respect, and understanding. Education, dialogue, and empathy are essential tools in this endeavor. By promoting critical thinking, celebrating diversity, and strengthening democratic institutions, India can overcome the challenges of communalism and build a more just and equitable society for all its citizens. The future of India rests on the choices its citizens make today. By choosing unity over division and hope over hatred, India can fulfill its promise of a truly inclusive and democratic society.